So the time has come to talk about both of our favorite team, the New York Mets. We are here in 2025, and this is an episode I could not wait to do. This is an episode that would be completely different a week ago, 2 weeks ago, based on what we know now. Some early season, preseason injuries, unfortunately, a thing that's off too common for the New York Mets. But before we do that, Darren, would you mind sharing a few words from Nashville Tax Solutions, our proud sponsor?
Attention Palm Bay and Fort Pierce. Struggling with tax issues? Whether you're behind on filings, dealing with a lien, or just need expert guidance, Nashville Tax Solutions here to help. Their team knows the ins and outs of tax relief and is ready to fight for you. But don't just take my word for it. Listen to the client. Chris Bennett and his team saved me from a financial nightmare. They're knowledgeable, they're clear, and they're compassionate. So don't let tax troubles keep you up at night. Call 855-627-4829. Visit NashvilleTaxSolutions.com or email info@NashvilleTaxSolutions today. Nashville Tax Solutions, because tax problems deserve a real solution.
Thank you, Darren. And so we are here talking about the 2025 New York Mets. So this is a team, like we said a few minutes ago, unfortunately had some injuries already. So when we look here at the lineup, it is not what it was supposed to be just a few weeks ago. We were hoping going into the season, would we see the OMG movement come back? Unfortunately, we know that is not the case. Now he is signed with a minor league deal with the San Diego Padres. So then we were going to go to Jeff McNeil, and he got injured as well. So now we have Brett Baty, who somehow finds his way, who was practically the third option. Now he's going to be the guy opening day, playing a new position. So that's awkward. But so there we go. We have Francisco Lindor at the top, shortstop, Juan Soto, Pete Alonso. I mean, that is a top three. Now, this is where I differ completely. We got Brandon Nimmo projected 4, Mark Vientos 5. That's a huge flip-flop. That should definitely be Mark Vientos 4. I do not think of Brandon Nimmo as a cleanup hitter. You are stretching out the lineup a little bit. Maybe they're thinking, let's pitch around Pete to get to Brandon. I don't know. Vientos in the 5 spot. Jesse Winker, Tyrone Taylor, Brett Baty, and Luis Torrens. Now, 2 names that I did not mention, Darren, are Sterling Marte and Jose Siri. Guys you would think would be in that lineup. Again, I'm surprised to see Tyrone Taylor there over Siri. But so your thoughts on that? Are you feeling like we're going to see more of Taylor and Winker, more of Siri and Marte, or 50-50?
I think they're going to play the long game, especially since it worked so well last year. I mean, but I think last year we caught some lightning in a bottle. I mean, we had some dramatic home runs by Lindor and Alonso to get them into the playoffs and then through the playoffs to the championship series. But those pitching injuries really concern me because, look, the Phillies have a bad taste in their mouth, and the Braves, they feel like everybody's just pushing them aside, and they got some stuff they're going to prove. So both of those teams are going to come out hard.
Yeah,
I think Marte is the better choice for left field. However, that knee is shot. He's a much better DH now, and he can occasionally play. I'm a big, Sterling Marte guy, but it's going to have to be Winkler and Brett Baty. I'm not sold on. They overhyped him. I'm not sold on him, and I'm really worried about that pitching staff. And I'm sorry, again, that hype machine with Alvarez. I mean, he's hurt again, and I feel bad about it. But this can you imagine if we didn't sign Alonso with this lineup now with the injuries?
Yeah, it would be complete. Now, I'm going to make a bold statement, and it's not going to go over well with the Mets, and maybe it's rubbing salt on the wound. But Francisco Alvarez has a lot of potential. I feel like he hasn't tapped into it yet. However, feel like we're getting close to Dom Smith vibes. This is a guy who
agreed. Wow, great call.
Power, but it just seems like his power is just not there. And I know he's in the catcher position, so you want to say, well, even if you get 12 home runs out of a catcher, that's a win. But what he was expected, like compared to where he was ranked and whatnot, fortunately, I can see this being a 0 home run kind of season for this guy. Not saying he wouldn't put up decent numbers with batting average and things like that. But I am a little hesitant. We're getting there with two injuries back to back, and just the power seemed to just diminish. And he got a pass for it for a long time, but you're playing in New York City, and we got to call you out on those kind of things. So,
well, I think you're right. I think you're right. I'm not losing sleep over it like the Yankees should be about losing Cole, but I think that, you know, we're not very strong at catcher to begin with, and now now we have rent a catcher, back there, and we have a guy playing left field now. It appears, who we like, Winkler, who is a wonderful bench guy, and you're starting him. I'm a little nervous.
Yeah, I am a little nervous with that. Now, with the bench, we talked about that a little bit, but I would prefer, if I had my way, to see Acuna Jr. or Acuna in there at second base.
Me too, over Beatty, big time
for sure. And then and then we also have the other name is escaping me now, but he was supposed to play last year, but injured in winter ball. Forget his name. It'll come back to me, but he was another highly touted Mets infielder. I'm going to go ahead and make a bold statement here. I think that the best hitter in this lineup, to me, in terms of home run production stuff, is Mark Vientos. I love Lindor, and he's probably going to lead the team in home runs, whatnot. But Vientos is a guy. It seems like when how do I put this? When Alonso was doing the things he did in the first season, it was like the second coming of Babe Ruth, right? Vientos put up those numbers with like 2 seasons and 2 months and a half in the minor leagues. And why is he an afterthought? Like, I know there's some big names on this team, but why is he getting the 4th and 5th best Met player love and not more stripes? And maybe because I just don't know. It just seems like they took his numbers for granted. I don't know. But
and by the way, I think what we're doing with Brandon Nimmo is disgusting. Too strong of a word. He had a big dip. If you look at his numbers, he had a big dip overall because they're messing with him like they mess with McNeil. McNeil was a wonderful gap to gap hitter, and then he started to try to hit some home runs, which were nice. But it ruined his swing for a while, and I feel like that's what's happening with Nimmo right now. He's a 1 or a 2. He's not a cleanup hitter.
He's not a cleanup hitter. That is I would rather see, if he's not going to be a 1 or 2 for whatever reason, maybe a 7. But definitely not a 4 or a 5. But so hopefully that changes. Again, just tapping into that rotation here on our final few minutes with you, but tapping into that rotation. Clay Holmes will be the opening day starter. And he
looks filthy right now. He looks very good.
He does. Yeah, I can say I'm happy with that. Senga, number 2, I'm confident he can get back. David Peterson's a guy, I'm going to take him every year. This is a workhorse, thoroughbred. I like him a lot. Griffin Canning, I don't know enough about, so I'm not quite sure. Tyler McGill, again, is a great, I like him in the 5th spot. Some people like it's a weaker rotation now. Yes, you would want to have Sean Manaea in there and Frankie Montas in there. But Frankie, to me, was like Carlos Quintana last year. I was like,
that's exactly who he is. Seriously, that's who he is.
Yeah. And so I'm okay with Peterson and McGill here. So I am a little worried, but they're stopgap people. They'll stop the bleeding a little bit, but they're going to have great starts, 1 hit, 5 innings. But these are guys that struggle the 3rd time around in the lineup. So that's where I would be more concerned. Quickly looking at the acquisitions, they signed everybody. But the names we've talked about, most of the names there, I do like Ryan Stanek coming over. I do like Drew Smith re-signing and things like that. But the big name, of course, there is Pete Alonso and Juan Soto. Thankfully, that Pete was able to re-sign for a 2-year deal. Notable subtractions, of course, Luis Severino going to the Athletics. That was a sting. When I was more stung by Severino leaving than I was Quintana. Harrison Bader, of course, went to the Twins. Adam Ottavino, Jose Iglesias, and Phil Matan. No big worries there. He was Phil. And, the one guy I wish the Jose 2-run home run Buto feels like he always gives up 2 runs every time he takes the mound.
Yep.
So, Darren, we'll end this final minute here, 30 parks in 30 days for the New York Mets. Let's go over where we think they're going to fall this season. So this is actually only the 2nd team of the NL East that we've covered so far. we both were in agreement that the Marlins would finish 5th in that division. So, Darren, you're on the clock. Do the Mets finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or 4th?
I'm going to say 1st. And I'm trying not to be a fan here. I'm going to say 1st, but those Phillies still scared of Jesus out of them. And
they do.
They have something to prove. Yeah. They're angry.
Yep.
But 1st.
The Mets are not as good as the Phillies 1 through 9, but the Mets are better 1 through 4. The Mets have enough pitching till the other guys get back that they can be competitive, but they're probably the 3rd best rotation in the division. I'm putting them 1st, not as a fan hat on, but I feel like that top is just that good. Even they have those 4 people. Vientos should be in the mix there. Those 4 guys are going to be difficult to get out, and Alonso, I think, is going to have a chip on his shoulder this year. So Darren's predicting Mets 1st place in the division. Mm-hmm. And we've got some really, really good teams there. So we shall see. Of course, they snuck in last year as a wild card, but this year we're giving them the nudge. Thank you guys for watching this episode of 30 Parks in 30 Days. We've got just a few more episodes for you because the season's starting in just about a week and a half's time. So until next time, folks, we will see you around the ballpark.